Hey guys, so now we're gonna dive into the actual content and really just the tofu, mofu, and bofu, right? So in these next modules and lessons, what we're going to talk about is all about the funnel, right? It's the different steps in the funnel, the different types of content you should create for each step of the funnel, the messaging, and just even the capabilities at each step of the funnel. And the first one we're going to start off with is the top of funnel, right? What type of content should you really be putting within those aspects of it, and what should the messaging be, right? Well, the majority of us are going to have more longer tail sales cycle programs, and to be quite honest with you, with the internet the way it is right now, a lot of products in general have seen increases in their sales cycle just because of the overall competition increase, right? Like you see right there, the Chevy ad, on this, right? If you went back 70, 80 years ago, 50 years ago, I should say, actually, Chevy didn't really have a whole lot of competition for trucks other than Ford, right? It was pretty much Ford and Chevy, and maybe Dodge was inching in there as well. And so it was the top three. Now the truck market is crazy huge, right? You've got Toyota, Nissan, Ford, Dodge, Tesla's trying to make a run for it. Ryzen's making a run for it from the electric truck range. When you go down to the mid-size truck as well, Toyota, Nissan, GM, Dodge, all of the traditional three are in there as well. But the overall market has become a lot more saturated, right? So it's more about increasing the value and understanding and creating those value props as you introduce them to the particular item, right? Everybody's familiar with the Silverado, right? But you really want to call out when you're talking about that top of mind awareness, right? We already kind of formed the top of mind awareness with Chevy because they've been around, right? But we may not, this may be our first truck we're buying. This may be something where we're a Dodge driver, or where we've been, driven cars, subcompacts, vans. Like, the background on the particular clientele and demographic that they're going after is so wide that what they're really keying in on is, hey, just take a look now, right? This is something to check out. And this is what a top of funnel ad is really going to look like. It's not going to dive into specific models, right? You're not going to really start talking about the Denali or the higher end models or any sort of value brands like the work trucks and how you can get, a fleet for cheap. You're really even not even going to really dive into any of the features. It's going to be more of a broad statement, because what you're trying to do is just create that introduction with this top of funnel content, right? And this is what you see within here. All new Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever, right? So what they're doing is they're doing an overall blanket statement as far as, hey, we've just made the most improvements than we ever have before, right? And it's like, hey, and the idea is to leave enough curiosity there that if they're familiar with the brand, if that's something that appeals to them, that they'll click on it, right? Since it's a display ad, thankfully we don't have to worry about, the click-through rate, but ideally what they're looking to do is get that overall exposure. They're looking to form top of mind awareness by this top of funnel content. As you see the ad structure, right? They've got Chevrolet really present in there. They've got Silverado present twice in there, which is the model name. And they've got a really, really good visually appealing appearance of what the truck looks like, right? So you have visual content to connect the name, to connect the brand and the model as well with what they're talking about. And then they have a nice value prop that's the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. So it leaves it vague enough. So it's not talking about, hey, you get all this badass new Bluetooth stuff, right? Well, that may not be valuable to somebody who's looking for the towing capacity to be increased, or the fact that, they have the new Vortec engine gets a better economy than the rest, or it has a greater pull rate with their new diesel, right? Those little features we're not going to dive into at the top of funnel, because all we're really trying to do is introduce them to the brand and the possibility of the particular, idea. Right? We're maybe not even keying in on the emotional aspects of things of these other ads that I'm going to show you right here. Right? So one of the ads, watch how Arizona residents are saving 50 to 75% on their auto insurance. It doesn't go into specifics. It doesn't even talk about the demographic of what it is, but they're looking at an overarching value statement because it's a good propensity of the people over 18 in Arizona are going to need auto insurance. So what's a key factor that's going to be able to relate to them and it's a cost savings, right? Savings of 50 to 75% on their auto insurance. They're not getting down in the details. They're not doing any quotes. They're not getting into, well, how many accidents have you had? It's kind of that blanket statement that's really broad and general, but can still apply to a very, very large group of people. And when they get down in the actual content, right, this is what their messaging is really going to kind of whittle down and fine tune and start to exclude people or segment them out into certain classes. Like this marijuana one, and the reason I pulled these all up of Yahoo, right? So these are all organic. These are native ads is what they are. And we'll talk about the content as well. But I really wanted to cover the overall, like the hook pitches that they're doing, right? Marijuana stocks entering an acceleration phase, 4,000% industry surge expected, right? They're keen in on these numbers because when you're talking about really hooking somebody in, the best things that are going to hook people in are very, very specific numbers or acceleration rates or return rates or like a very, very defined benefit. And within, we're talking about marijuana stocks, you're talking about overall insurance, auto insurance, even when you're talking about within CNN, the brand over here, they're talking about very, very specifics that are the reasons why you should check them out again, right? Well, why should we click on this ad? What's in the WIFM for me? Well, the WIFM is you get the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever, right? Okay, cool. Then that's going to hopefully, that's going to be some of that curiosity headline that we talked about in the previous module about, the curiosity, opening up that basically the FOMO almost. Like I need to figure this out, the informational type of stuff, where these are going to be much more driven around, specific stats and, benefits that they're going to incur or the potentials that they're going to see. When you get into the dental implant tech disrupts the industry, right? This is a little bit broader, but it keys in on that curiosity that they're doing, and then they can filter it down with this more defined, filtering section like dental implant cost, dental implant offers, dental implants, right? Phoenix dental implants, where they can further segment out and refine what that target audience is. And as they gain this data, as they move down through this first stage of the top of funnel, this is going to allow them to understand what position or what message to position in that next stage. What's going to be valuable for them, right? Like in this particular one, you click on the Chevy. They want you to build the model here. That's what they're going to try and move you into, right? Build and price. And then as you go down through these particular steps, right? If I'm like, oh, I want the King Cab, and then I hit next trim, I opt out, right? Then what the smart thing to do is to reposition however far they made it into that funnel. If they made it to that trim page, and then you can basically retarget them with, hey, we know you were looking at the King Cab. This is what they have that's the newest and greatest and strongest about the most advanced Silverado ever, right? And they can specify the imagery, which they've already done this with the King Cab, right? But, let's say we go with a short cab or we're looking for just a work truck, right? Hey, the most cost-efficient work truck, longest on the road available, right? You can phrase that message because you have that data of where they went on the site, and it'll loop back into that audience data that we've covered in the previous modules, and you can retarget them with a much more specific ad to work them down through that mid funnel, which we'll cover in the next module. Right? When you're going into this type of content, right, there's a few different types of content that you're looking at, right? So from top of funnel content is going to break up really into about 4 different types of content, right? You're going to have your display, your imagery, right? Your image ads. You're going to have more your editorial, like native content. If you see these were all found on Yahoo, right? On where I was looking that up on the Yahoo search page, and they show up as those sponsored ads. But these are informational articles to kind of expose more of the potential prospects and benefits people that are in similar shoes have benefited from them. And then again, from the information that you take here, that's going to help you phrase your mid-funnel format a lot better. But top of funnel content is typically going to be like display stuff. It's going to be native ads where they're showing up here, right? Where they're basically landing them on more long form content that can further expose the value props. The other stuff is it's going to be like 15 countries that hate Americans, right? It's kind of a funny one, but again, this is the point of this particular one is just to give enough content as it works through to build value and to keep their basically their attention, because this is a different point. Like their top of funnel is right there at Yahoo, right? What they're looking more for is actual impressions within this stuff, right? This is their conversion. These impressions on these ads is these guys' conversions. So the more pages that I look through, see how all those ads re-clicked? And then if I do the next one, all these ads are reloading, and that's new impressions for this particular model, right? If your model is more of a longer tail sales process where you're trying to actually get dental leads, right? You may look at, okay, well, let's talk about the dental implant costs, right? This is a clickbait page, so it's not a great example. But if you want to go to like the insurance page, this is a really good example. These guys do well, right? Car Quotes Instant. EverQuote is usually what runs these. And they've been really, really successful with these kind of, just emotion grabbing. They're keying in on a certain demographic, right? If you drive less than 50 miles per day, you are paying too much for your auto insurance. Well, hell, I don't drive very much. So I'm going to put in my information, and they're going to chronicle all this as you go down. Then you go to step 2, right? Get you more information, right? So that's native, where they're leading you more into the funnel, right? This is the mid funnel process for them, which we'll go into in the next modules, about what they're gathering that information. This is their research phase, right? They've got you the hook. The top of funnel content was all about just the kind of the scare or, reward kind of based headline, or curiosity based or specific metric based are some categories that they typically go with top of funnel content. The other aspect that you can go with is something helpful, right? To address a specific need for them, right? So within Home Depot, talked about this a couple of times, they do really, really well. If I talk about repairing my toilet, all right, this homeowner series. What is the homeowner series? Oh, they don't have any page. That's fine. So utilizing this through the research phase is something that is very, very valuable. Home Depot, looks like they've changed it up a little bit, but right. So like the Husky mobile workbench. If I'm looking for a workbench, right? Homes versus Low. How to remove popcorn ceiling, right? How to replace or install a toilet. Let's do how to replace a toilet. Right there. They're organically ranking these. These guys are a little bit Quikrete, right? They're looking at Quickrete's a great example where they're looking at, maybe that's not an option, right? Maybe we're looking to completely repair it, but we don't know it. So Quickrete's actually advertising on this, and what they're going to show is all of their value props. And then what this is going to do is it's going to put you in their funnel, right? This is going to be that top of mind content, that top of mind or top of funnel content that's going to give you value and be educational is one format, either solving a problem, being educational, or scare tactics, or providing like some sort of monetary based value are really the 4 ways that you can really, really contact people in a very, very emotional way, right? People that, want to grow as an individual, they want to affect their pocketbook, or, they just want to save time. Those type of things are the things that are the modules or the theme of your content that you should think about when you're creating this top of funnel content, because it's very much keying in on the emotional aspect of what they're doing through either solving their problem, relating to their problem, combating their problem, providing like an ulterior, thought process. So, or from an education standpoint, right? Those are really good ways to think about top funnel content, because this is going to be the introduction to your brand. This is going to be where you're going to ultimately start to build value from them, whether or not you're educating them on something, solving a problem, empathizing with them. Those are all ways to build value through that top of funnel content, through either utilizing video, native long form editorial content, display ads, even shopping ads, and those to even some search ads, depending on what your industry, can even be top of funnel, right? But at the end of the day, what they're looking for with this top of funnel content is something to, either empathize with them, solve their problem, relate to their need, or, teach them something. Like that's what top of funnel content ideally is. It doesn't have a lot of like sales content. You're not going to see a lot of heavy call to actions like purchase today, purchase now. buy now specials and things like that within your top of funnel content, because this is more the introductory level. Like, we're trying to introduce people to our brand and our effectiveness and our capabilities within this content stream without really hammering down what our price points are, where we're specifically located, like all of that more conversion buying behavior, such as pricing, such as offers, those type of things you're not going to include in this type of top of funnel content, right? So think about very, very creative stuff that's going to engage and make an impact, either by solving, educating, or empathizing with your potential prospects or your clients. And you'll do really, really well at creating top of funnel content that'll make sure it reinforces your brand, forms top of mind awareness, and again, moves them further down the funnel so you can get them closer to the conversion point and closer to putting more money back in your pocket.